Hello, this is Commando Yi, and today I want to talk about a fairly advanced jungle concept that I call the jungler's pendulum. The underlying idea is that the position of the jungler tends to swing between the top lane and the bottom lane back and forth. In this example video, imagine the left side of the screen as the top lane and the right side of the screen as the bottom lane, and the toy that is swinging back and forth is the jungler. Go back and watch our last 10 replays and watch the movements of the junglers on both teams, and you will notice that they swing back and forth in this fashion with very high frequency. Now you might be wondering, why exactly does this happen? And the truth is, I do not have a conclusive answer to exactly why junglers play this way. What I've noticed is that when a jungler is active on one side of the map, by which I mean he can be ganking a lane or fighting the enemy jungler, it means that he will swing back to the other side of the map after about a minute. I can think of two reasons for this kind of swinging motion back and forth from the top side towards the bottom side of the map. When the jungler is active on one side of the map, he could have cleared out all the nearby jungle camps, removing the incentive to revisit that side of the map. Another reason is that a jungler who is active on one side of the map could feel that he has done all that he needs to do on that side of the map, and he should now visit the other side of the map. I'm not entirely sure which of these two reasons it is, or if there are more, but all I know is the end result is the jungler swinging back and forth between the top side and bottom side of the map within about a 1-minute interval. Let's take a look at a few examples of how this works out in game. In this first example, a jungle Kaisa is on the top side of the map but remains unseen. At 2:43, she's seen ganking the top lane where she gets a kill on Ornn, and then at the 3-minute mark she has an encounter with the enemy Rengar in the river and she kills him. The red team's bottom lane will see a notice that Kaisa has killed their Rengar at 3:10. This puts Kaisa on a timer to arrive in the bottom lane within a minute. After Kaisa clears out the rest of her jungle, she recalls back to base, buys some more items, then heads straight to her bottom side jungle, at which point she ganks the bottom lane at 4:10, killing multiple opponents. This could have been predicted by the red team's bottom lane had they paid attention to what happened with their Rengar a minute earlier. In this next example, Khazix is active on the top side river at 3 minutes where he kills Sejuani. He then clears the camp and heads back to base, at which point he heads out to the bottom side of the map at the 4-minute mark. He arrives in the bottom lane going for a gank on the enemy Jhin, burning his flash. Had the blue team paid attention to what happened with Sejuani a minute ago, they could have known to expect Khazix right about now and not have overextended so deeply. In this next example, Khazix is ganking the bottom lane at 8 minutes and 20 seconds and is last seen active by the blue team at 9 minutes when he takes the dragon. A minute later, he's on the top side jungle taking the Rift's Cutler, then clearing out the opponent's jungle. Even without vision of Khazix, the blue team could have predicted that he'd be in this area of the map had they paid attention to his last active status by the dragon. In this next example, Olaf ganks the bottom lane around 5 minutes into the game, wrapping up the kills by 5:10. He respawns in base and then heads out to the mid lane to clear some minions, and heads over to his topside jungle around 6:10, exactly a minute later. The blue team's Nunu has safely counter-jungled away these caps while Olaf was ganking the bottom lane. In this example, Eve ganks the top lane Trundle at 4:20. She does not get the kill that she was going for, and the gank wraps up at 4:30 unsuccessfully. After clearing out her topside jungle, Eve is going to head back to base, then head towards the bottom side of the map. She clears a few jungle camps along the way, and at 5:30 she arrives in the bottom lane for another gank. Despite the fact that this gank was also unsuccessful, the Caitlyn and Morgana could have been better prepared had they realized that Eve ganked the top lane Trundle a minute earlier. The summary of how you can use this information is that if you see the enemy jungler active on the top side of the map, as the bottom lane AD carry and support, you should expect the enemy jungler to swing towards your side of the map 1 minute later. Similarly, if you see the enemy jungler active on the bottom side of the map, as a top laner, you can expect the enemy jungler to swing towards your side of the map 1 minute later. This strategy will allow you to predict the movement of the enemy jungler with high accuracy, allowing you to reduce the amount of times that you die in the top lane and bottom lane. Now, if you are a jungle main watching this video, you might get mad thinking, "God damn it, Commando Yi, why are you giving away this information?" I do have some consolation for you. I'm nowhere near as popular as, say, Nightblue, so this video is not going to reach millions and millions of users. And more importantly, the vast majority of top laners and AD carries are not going to pay attention to the jungler being active on the other side of the map. They simply do not have the map awareness to pull it off, unlike this cat here who has much greater map awareness and can track the enemy jungler swinging between the top lane and bottom lane. For the top laners and bottom laners who are able to make use of this information, I hope it helps you play around the enemy jungler without even having vision of them. If you love these videos and want to see more, do hit the subscribe button and use the bell icon to be notified on when the next video comes out. If you want to improve your in-game decision making, take a look through the playlist on the left, and if you want to learn some League strategies, take a look through the playlist on the right. You can also follow on Twitter, and if you want to support this channel directly, do click on the Patreon link to support this channel.